Okay, rolling arrival. This is kind of technical. I think I'm the #1 guy, and we kind of pioneered this, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time. You probably want to do restaurant events at least occasionally, but whether or not you want to, this is how we squeeze 100 people RSVPing into a reservation for 30. We run an event from, or how we squeeze an RSVP. We open it to 50 RSVPs, but we squeeze them into 18 seats. How do we do that? We open it from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. or any 3-hour period, but usually it's 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. We tell people arrive anytime you want between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. Stay as long as you want or leave after you eat. Most people leave after they eat. You can, if you have 18 seats, you can, or whatever number you have, you fit 50% more in, we find. So in those 18 seats, you fit 27. You fit 27 at about a 50% flake rate. You open it to 50 people. Because we do, the vegetarian group mostly does vegetarian restaurant events, this has been so valuable to us. If you ever are trying to squeeze, you just want to squeeze some more people into the restaurant, running it for 3 hours instead of 2, and rolling arrival times works extremely well. And I tell you that extra 50% works perfectly, and then of course the RSVPs are even larger. You have a question about this?
Yes.
Go ahead.
If you don't set a time, what's the likelihood that they all might show up at one time and you have more than 18 seats? What do you do with more than 18?
You must set a time. You must set a time, like 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Okay, here's another thing. The reason, I'm very glad you asked that question. The reason that we always do it 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., if you start this at 7, if you ran at 7 to 11, you get so many of your people, not only arrive, maybe half your people arriving at 7 o'clock, but the other half arriving at 7:30, and you go over the number of seats you have. We get a surprising number of, well, I used to be shocked at how many people arrive at 6 o'clock, but a lot do. Well, a good number do. A good like 10, 20%. But the fact that they come in, eat, finish their meal by like 7, 7:15, leave, and then the other people come in at 7:15, 7:30, that makes it doable. If you set your time too late for this rolling arrival, you're going to get too many. You're going to actually have all your people there at the same time. You don't want all your people there at the same time, because obviously that's the one, you know, you're trying to make do with a smaller reservation fitting. So you must have a set time, and you must begin early. If you begin too late, you'll get, as I say, half your people arriving right at the beginning, and then another quarter of them arriving in the next half hour, and then like the other quarter arriving in the next hour. They'll all be there together. Okay. So just a point about separate checks always work good. Table of 4. This is just some general restaurant stuff in there. One of my early meetups, I was at a bar. I had a bill for 30 people. I was responsible for it. Somehow, thank God, I was actually able to collect from, and it matched up. There's no accountability, obviously, if the restaurant says you ordered 12 drinks and you only have money for 10, there's no, like, the restaurant can, if they want to, pull a fast one, or just add 2 more, or just be mistaken. But if you have a table of 4, obviously, in that case, those 4 people can credibly say, well, she ordered a drink, she ordered a drink, he did not order a drink, he did not, we only ordered 2, but you have 3. So that's why you can credibly, any discrepancy between what you think you ordered and what the restaurant has you for, if you keep it to like 4 at the most, you can work it out. Okay. You generally don't want to book the whole restaurant. The restaurant will impose a minimum on you, either minimum per person or minimum for the whole. And So you know what, more is about that on the sheet. When booking a large group into a venue, it is best to book the venue on an off night, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. You want to take advantage of a venue's excess capacity. Generally, you want to go to the venue when it's empty, when they naturally have that space anyway. So they want your business. They want you to, they say, oh, manna from heaven, they're coming in on a Tuesday night when we're half empty anyway. If you have to battle, they're not going to give you as good terms if you go on a Thursday or, God forbid, a Friday. You know, it's like they're full anyway. Why do they need your business? Even if you could fit in, it's not going to be a good experience. So you want to go on the off nights which I just said be here. Okay, your most important member is you. At the very first point, I said host events that you personally enjoy doing and that will be popular with your Meetup members. But I've gotten burnt out with Meetup groups where it was like doing it all for them. I wasn't having fun. I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. Yes, it's great to have this intense focus on all the standard things that people want. They want to go and meet a bunch of people, which a drinking event is perfect for. They want to go to a place has these glowing reviews in the New York Times and Zagat. They want to go to a place that looks beautiful. And you can show them in the photographs how beautiful it is. So yes, you have to keep that intense focus on what people want. But you have to find the intersection between what you like to do. Like, for instance, let's say you just didn't like ever running a drinking event. I would suggest you get a Meetup organizer that does do it. Don't force yourself to do it, although I don't, I think no one should find a drinking event objectionable, although I know some people, it's just not their thing. But you've got to keep yourself engaged, happy. That's what I've been able to do with the vegetarian. That's why I don't mind doing all this work with the vegetarian group, because I'm having a ball doing the things that I love. And I do find that intersection between, if I'm not happy and doing work, and working with my assistant organizers, of which I have 25, and they are fantastic. I've got this fantastic team of assistant organizers. But if I'm not happy working by myself, working with them, you know, things could fall apart. And I've got to keep myself interested and motivated. You've got to pay attention to yourself, what you're having fun doing. So it will help the group. The thing is about by paying attention to yourself, by keeping yourself wanting and loving to do events, you know, you keep the most important person in the leadership, you, happy in doing all these things. Okay, point 20. Starting a new Meetup group. Some of you may be wanting to do this, some may not. I think a lot of you might be in this situation. You have Meetup groups already, but you're thinking, there's another one I could start. I've been in that, and I've done it. I've done it myself, but you may not have any Meetup groups. I know that some people here don't have any Meetup groups. So the thing is, this kind of brings home a lot of the points that I've already made. Again, you want to have that marketing angle with everything you do. You don't just, when you're picking topics, you don't just want this obscure, let's say you have a kind of obscure topic, or, you know, people are signed up. As I should mention before I launch into this, people like there are like maybe 5,000 people or whatever number looking to get an email when a vegan Meetup group is started in New York, or a new in town Meetup group is started in New York, or social networking, or singles, or entrepreneurship, etc. There are, as you probably know, when you start a Meetup group, there are all these people on the waiting list. The key strength, I mean, when you start, you've got the wind at your back, because depending on the topics that you choose, there are all these thousands of people waiting to join a group that is that topic. So yes, you want to pick topics that are very specific to your group, but you also want to throw in new in town, social networking. If you like singles, throw that in. I never put singles as a topic for any of my groups, but you know, go to the ones that are large and generic. Friends, perfect. So you don't just want it to, yes, you want to go to the people who are specific or ultra specific, but not only that, at the expense of not taking advantage of Meetup to have it go to these, there will be people in that new in town or their friends that say, hey, this is a great topic. So choose a good mix of things that are specific or very specific to your topic, but also things that, also topics where there are thousands of people. Pick a lot of them, say at least half of them. You should be picking just the very large generic ones like new in town or friends. Okay, and this is all exactly what I did when I started the live music meetup, which was an immediate success. And I'm going to talk about that and how, okay. So B, have an extremely enticing first meetup scheduled and an extremely attractive group description written before your new group announcement goes out. Once you click, it waits 3 days. The system waits 3 days. It either sends it out automatically or you decide. You should already have decided before you even click to start the group. You should have decided already, even though it's not up, what your first. There's a music venue, just as an example, Joe's Pub. I don't know if you're familiar with it or not. For people with middle-of-the-road music taste, but also like world music, all different kinds of music. It's just like, it's like the Cathedral. It's affiliated with the Joseph Public Theater. If there was ever a venue in New York that has these screaming, blowing, it's like, oh my God, this is the hottest place on the planet, Joe's Pub. So I put it at Joe's Pub. We had this great, huge pop singer, not well known in the, and she happened to be an attractive young lady who coming in to New York for this gig at Joe's Pub. Huge pop success in England, barely known in the United States, cheap price. People loved it. They RSVP'd in droves. I said it. I got a lot of people RSVP'd. I wrote this fantastic group description. I wrote this fantastic. I spent 6 hours even with writing the event description, and and I also found like the very best event at the very best venue. Of course, you're starting it off. You want to have a bang up meetup. Just by doing that without going to my other meetups, which I did, I got about 50 RSVPs from the people who joined my meetup. And then, because, the group, so many people, the group description was so enticing, and then the first meetup itself, and it was just like, if you want just an example, what's he talking about? New York City live music meetup, go back in the calendar to our very first event. If you want a model of what I think a screamingly successful, enticing, compelling, be like, you must be there. This is an example. I mean, you see, venue to the hilt, everything to the hilt. And we went to a great bar afterwards, hung out, took tons of great pictures.
Can we wrap it up because it's kind of late? So
sure.
I want you to explain the email that you sent for people to RSVP. That's the last point.
Sure. And then, of course, what I did as an established meetup organizer, I did promote the meetup to my existing groups, and I got my other 30 people for that, for a cap of 80 to fit into the venue, to fit our large reservation. There's only so large we could get. And so then we went out to a bar, we all talked to each other. The picture that we have on the front, it's us standing in front of Joe's Pub. So I really had, let me do this first one absolutely perfectly, pull out all the stops. So, and it kind of underlines a lot of the points that I've been making. Thank you, Nestor, for mentioning that. Okay, so there is this very, at Meetup Organizer Meetup, if you'll hear me for years talk about this email that I send out to people. This is especially good for new and medium-sized groups. I never do this anymore, but when I started with New in Town, my very first group, and this is it's been so extremely effective for me and helped us really rock it up right from the very beginning. So we have the meetup. There were 10 people at the meetup, 10 people at the first meetup that I organized. And after that meetup, I sent out an email to those 10 people. And I said, it's all here, take it, use it, if you like. Hi Joe, how are you? Great to see you at the meetup on Tuesday. Or if you write to other people later, if you write to other people in the meetup that you didn't see at the last meetup, you say, great to be writing to you. Like if you didn't happen to see, anyway. Over a while, you'll know like 50, 60, 80 people, I'd send it to those 50, 60, 80 people, whether or not I saw them, and depending on whether or not I saw them. Okay, so I wonder if you could do me a favor. I just put up a new meetup for next month, and I am trying to get it going. Could you RSVP for it? Here's the link. And then I paste in the link. This is all a template. The only thing I put different, and I click on the names of all the people. I go to the people who attended. I click on each of their names, but I paste in the template. And I paste in their name. I paste in their name to the template and said, even if you can't make the event, just your RSVP will help build momentum for the event. Others will see the RSVPs, and they will RSVP too. If it does work out that you can make it, that would be great. It would be wonderful to see you there. But even if you can't make the event, just your RSVP will help a lot. Thanks. 2/3 of the people that I sent those to did it. In fact, I'd say more than 2/3. 2/3 of the it was like 2/3 of the people showed up, and maybe 50%, or 2/3 of those, or 50% of the total number that I sent out actually attended the next event. They loved the fact that I reached out to them right after the first event, asked them to RSVP. They weren't just doing me a favor. What I found, much to my delight, I wasn't expecting this positive response, is yes, they were doing me a favor by RSVPing and building up, but then they actually showed up to the meetup. This was so extremely effective in building up the New York City New in Town meetup. After every meetup, you know, like a day or two later, I'd post the next monthly meetup, and then I'd send this out to all the people I knew in the group, whether or not they showed up at the last event. But, you know, if I saw them at the last event, I'd say, great to see you at the last event. If not, I left that part out. But this was extremely effective in getting ever-increasing numbers to the next meetup. Take this, use it.